Dear students, welcome you all to the course that is Apparel Production Planning and Control, that is APPC. So in the previous sessions we have discussed about what is marker efficiency, what are the points to be considered while preparing the marker, and what are the spreading techniques and what are the spreading modes, what is exactly the spreading is, and we have already seen the last session, that is biased grain. So this session we are going to see about step lay and splicing. What is exactly the step lay is and what is splicing. So let us start about the step lay. So before the step lay process, so the joining of markers for order with equal order quantities. So what is a marker is? So as we have discussed in the earlier sessions, the marker is nothing but the patterns of a garment. So nothing but, so all the patterns, like as I told an example of like a garment, that is shirt or a shirting fabric or shirting garment. So we have many number of garment patterns. So patterns are, different patterns are there. So like an example, like a shirt is having different patterns such as like front bodies, back bodies, and cuff, collars, collar bands, and sleeves, pleats, plackets. Okay, so there are many components or many patterns in the particular garment. So the marker is consisting of all the patterns. So all the patterns are going to be placed on an order so that the fabric utilization is going to be more and the fabric wastage is going to be reduced. Okay, so it is very important that how we are placing the patterns in a marker, how we are arranging the patterns in a marker is very important in terms of marker efficiency. So what is exactly these equal quantities of an order? Okay, so in this situation, marker are joined from which the same number of articles have to be cut. For example, 50 pieces size 38 and 50 pieces of size 42, 50 pieces of size 48. So now we have three different sizes, that is 38, 42 and 48, and you can observe that what is the number of pieces are required for particular sizes, that is 50. So nothing but all the sizes ordered quantity is same. So that is why you can observe that our title is joining markers for orders with equal order quantities. Okay, with equal order quantity. This is one of the very important point in terms of preparing the marker. Okay, so whenever if the ordered quantities are same, for example, the customer or a buyer is given the order like 5 different sizes, and out of these 5 different sizes, 3 different sizes or 3 sizes are having an equal ordered quantity. For example, like this 50, 50, 50 for each size. So and remaining 2 are having, if the remaining 2 sizes are having less number of order quantity, then we are going to prepare a separate marker for the particular sizes. So the size, the marker preparation is very important while preparing the marker, and by considering the sizes we are preparing the marker. Okay, so let us assume here you can see that there are 2 different sizes, 36 size as well as 44 size. These 2 sizes you can observe that the 36 size and the 44 size, these 2 are having an equal ordered quantities. Now what and how we have made is these components, the 36 size, all the components are kept at one area, and the 44 size components we have kept at one specific part. and both together we have clubbed and we have made one particular marker. So we have made one marker for these two different sizes, and when we are making this like kind of thing is, if the ordered quantities are same, we are going to prepare like this marker. So this is one of the example how we are going to prepare the marker for different sizes. And you can observe that there is a 1 centimeter or 1 inch of space is left out, and the remaining part has been kept the patterns. So nothing but the marker ends. So the one end of the marker and the second end of the marker, we are keeping the empty space, or we are keeping a 1 inch of space for the edges, so that the marker will come in the middle of the fabric area. So as well as in the sides of the fabric also, we are going to left some space, that is 1 inch or half inch of space in the either sides of the fabric edge, so that when the patterns are kept, or when the marker is kept on the top of all fabric plies, your cut components will come exactly. So otherwise what will happen, if you keep exact place the edges of the fabric also, you would like to use edges of the fabric also, then it is very difficult to cut the component exactly. Okay, so the pattern is come at the edges. So sometimes what will happen, if the marker is displaced, so while cutting, then what will happen, the top of the marker or the edges of the whatever the patterns are there, edges of the patterns are going to come with the defective. So that is why we need to left out some space, so that the components are, so that the patterns will be going to cut exactly. Okay, so this is how the marker is going to be prepared. And you can observe that each and every marker, so every marker is having all the components in the particular marker, and all the components, nothing but all the patterns of a particular garment has kept at one place, so you can observe that very easily. So particular size, all the components or all the patterns are came or not, so you can see and you can clearly observe all the patterns are available or not. So this is how we are going to prepare a marker, and you can see that there are number of plies of fabric, and above the fabric plies we are going to place the marker, so that after placing the marker we are clamping it at the all the sides of the fabric plies as well as along with the marker, and we are going for the next step, that is cutting. So this is the introduction thing, and you can see that some of the fabrics or some of the garments are having small pieces, or the garment size itself very smaller. So you can see that these garments are going to kept or joined together, so that the fabric utilization is going to be very high. So small garment pieces are came, or small garment is came like undergarments or something. So in that case what will happen, the marker will be prepared separately, and these two markers together we are going to place on the fabric plies. Then because these two joining will be going to get more marker efficiency. So to get more marker efficiency, we are going to join the two ends of the marker. Okay, so this is the one thing, and we will see that what is exactly the step spreads are. Okay, step spreads are. Now as I told, if you have an equal order quantities, that is 50, 50, 53 together, and only 20 garments are required for one particular size of the garment. Only 20 garments are required, for example. So remaining all are we required is 50, and one particular size is required only 20, and so what will happen is, so you have to prepare a marker separately for the equal order quantities and the less ordered quantity. Why? Because we will see here, Short markers are often made to match orders with the different number of garments. So short markers are going to made to match the order with a different number of garments. So then, to make cutting room work process more efficient, step spreads with a different number of plies in each zone may be laid and cut. So how this step lay will be done? So the step lay is going to be done. You can observe here there are 3 steps in the particular marker. So now you can see here the number of plies in a step 1, step 2, step 3. Say there is a fabric roller, and from the fabric roller we are going to place particularly like highest number of plies, some medium number of plies, and lowest number of plies. Now for example, when and how we can know that this many number of plies are required for particular place? So this is a simple example what is exactly the step kind of spread is. Now you can see that more number of plies area, you will get automatically more number of garments, okay, and less number of plies where you have, so in that case you are going to get less number of garments. For example, if you have like an example for these, for example 3 different garments sizes are there, same garment style. For example, assume same garment style but different sizes, 3 different sizes. Say for example 38, 42, 46. 38, 42, 46. Now to get different ordered quantities, so 38 size 50, 42 size 30, and 46 size 10. In that case we are going for the preference of this step kind of plies. Now where the 50 is there, so the first least ordered quantity we are going to keep first. Now for example, if whatever the 10 number of garments are required, first what we are going to do is 10 plies of the bottom lay plies is going to be done, bottom plies, okay. So after 10 we are going to reduce the spread length, we are going to reduce the spread length. First 10 is spread length is more, and second spread is the spread length is going to be reduced as per the ordered quantity. Now for example, if the second size we required 30, so now so already you made 10 number of plies in the first place and remaining 20 will be done, so that total together 30 will be done, 30 plies should be there. So 30 plies of second step will be done. Now so total like a 20, first 10, then second 20, so that it becomes 30. Now in the third step, we are going to make or we are going to prepare number of plies, that is total 50. So remember total 50. Total 50 nothing but already we have made 30 plies, and remaining how many are there? 20 plies has to be done in the third step. So that if you observe the first total highest number of plies, so total becomes 50, and second size you are going to get 30, and in the third step you are going to get 10. So 50, 30, 10 is going to get from these step kind of spread. Okay, so this particular step spread is going to be used for different ordered quantities. So remember that these step kind of spreads are preferably going to used for the different ordered quantities. If the equal ordered quantities are there, for example, so as I told in the previous sessions, so if you want total 100 garments, 2 sizes 100 garments are required. So in one marker you are going to make two sizes, so total 1 ply you are getting 4. So how many are required? So only 50 plies are required. So because in each lay we are going to get in each size 2 garments, So each size 2 garments we are getting in one ply. So like that plies, if you made 50 multiplied by 2, you will get 100 number of garments for particularly one size. And the second size also you are going to get 100. Okay. So if the equal ordered quantities are there, then you can go for the equal spread or uniform spread. Okay. So there is no requirement of this step kind of spread for the particular ordered quantity. So this is how and where we are going to use step kind of spread in the marker preparation or in the cutting table. Okay. So as per the marker and as per the cut order plan, we are going to spread the fabric on the cutting table. Okay. Then the marker is going to be placed on the particular area. Then the clamping can be done. Then further it is going to forwarded for the cutting for the cut components. Okay. So this is how we are going to follow. So the same procedure you can see here I have explained in the point by point. The step spread is carried out as follows. The first step is performed in the traditional way. Fabric plies are spread for all the joint markers and the required number of plies is laid down for a smallest order. Okay, for the smallest order first I told that is why. First we are going to place the smallest order. Then second step is going to laid for all other markers up to the end of the marker having the next smallest order. When the required number of plies for this marker is reached, spreading is stopped within this zone. Okay. Other steps for the spread are laid in the same way, providing the required number of plies for each marker. Required number of plies in the each marker. That is why I told 50 pieces, 30 pieces, 10 pieces. So least order is going to be made first spread, then second least, then third least, like that. We are going to spread the fabric like that manner. Okay. Then you can observe here. So you can observe here, fabric plies are there. So step kind of fabric plies. Now you can observe that 44 size and 36 size. So where in the 44 size, so total number of plies are, you can observe that 3 and plus 4. Total 7 plies are there. And you can observe that in the 36 size, only 4 spreads are there or 4 lays are there. So where in the 36 size, you are going to get less order quantity or the garments less order, and 44 size is more order. So this is how you are going to place the fabric plies on the spreading table and cutting. So this is how we are going to place after the spreading. So you can see that at the top side of the image, in every step they have kept a marker. So the separate markers are going to be prepared, or if you prepare the marker at one place, even though it is going to be cut and it is going to be placed in the every step. So separately for particular size, this marker is going to kept at different steps on the differently. So separately all the markers are going to keep in the all the separate steps in the step kind of spread. Okay. So this is the what and how we are going to place the plies of the fabric and how we are going to place the marker on the top of step plies. Okay. So this is the thing, and fabric splicing is the next point or next thing. Okay. So that last topic is that is called as, we have discussed step splicing or step spread. How we are going to spread the fabric in step by step depends upon the ordered quantity. By considering ordered quantity of different sizes, we have discussed that. So in the fabric rolls there are so many faults. So after spread, after inspection, after the finishing inspection, everything, the fabric is receiving into the apparel industry. Even though in that case the fabric is having some of the faults. So these faults can be identified in the again in the fabric inspection in the apparel industry, and sometimes if it is missed or unfortunately it was not found in the inspection area. So sometimes while spreading the fabric, these whatever the faults present in the fabric is going to be appeared in the spreading area, because the fabric is going to be opened and spread on the table. So now the fabric, whatever the faults are there, you can observe very easily. So in that case, what you are going to do? So there is an option that the fabric splicing in the spreading area in the cutting department. So now what is particularly the fabric splicing is? You can see here, for the most efficient use of fabrics with the variety of faults, splice points are determined and indicated in the markers. So where these splice points are there, splice points are going to be mentioned in the marker, okay. So or in the marker, or sometimes on the spreading table it is going to be there, okay. So specifically in the marker we have these splicing marks. So splice points are areas where a reasonably straight line may be drawn across the width of the fabric. How it is going to be made? We will see the small image. The ply may be cut off at this point. Excising the fault without affecting the quality of the cut component. Nothing but, for example, if the fault is there, so in that place what we are going to do is we are going to overlap the fabric so that the fabric ply is going to be occurred. So when the cutting is done, so the particular cut component is going to be removed, okay. So cut off nothing but the particular fault is going to be removed off, okay, from the fabric. So now you can observe here the marker is having splice points where the dotted lines indicates the splice points. So if you observe the particularly in the splice points, so where exactly these splice points are there? So generally in the image it was shown one, but the necessity of these splice points are actually at the same point. So wherever the pattern is ending, and the new pattern, for example new pattern, so old pattern is there here, a new pattern is going to start from here onwards. So the end of the old pattern and the start of the new pattern, so both the places we should require the splice mark or splice point. So you can observe here, these are the splice points, and these exactly you can see here whatever I have explained. The first splice line is determine the longest pattern piece in each splice area, okay, and the second one is going to be placed in the next starting point. So you can see that the first splice part and the second splice part, the two lines 1 and 2 is given, okay. So you can observe that the starting pattern of the image or pattern, starting of the pattern to the ending. So first pattern is end. Now the second pattern is started from here onwards, from the back side. So the ending of the first pattern and the starting of the second pattern, in between these two we are going to draw a cross line. So these lines are going to observe in the marker across the fabric width or across the marker. So whenever, for example, there is a fault which is observed in the image or in the particular pattern, so or in the particular area, so what you are going to do is we are going to see the fabric and we are going to splice the fabric or cut the fabric, and we are going to overlap the fabric so that there should not be any damage to the particular components, okay. So if the fault is came in the component, so what will happen? The component has to be replaced. Again, recutting should be done. So to avoid that, what we are doing is we are having a splice marks on the marker. So while spreading, you can observe that if you observe any faults, so you are cutting the particular area, overlapping the fabric, so that the patterns, whatever the patterns you are going to prepare for the sieving purpose, is going to come exactly. If you missed or if you forget, if you are not seen the any fault in the while spreading, then what will happen? You don't see that particularly, you don't observe that. Now wherever the fault is came, so the faulty cut component has to be recut in the next process. Okay, so that is very again a time consuming process. That is why it should be seen in the spreading time and the cutting time. Okay, so these splice marks are very important in the case of marker and in case of cutting. So you can see that the splice area is most efficient where there is a small distance between the splice lines. There is a small lines between the splice line. If the splice lines area, that is 5 to 10 centimeter, means nothing but it is economical. If the splice area is 10 to 20 centimeters, okay, optimal and economical. But 30-40 wide areas are less efficient. Okay, so nothing but splice distance, it is more nothing but your wastage of the fabric in splice marks is more. So you are wasting the fabric more. So not only one ply, whatever the fabric faults will come, so all the faults you need to calculate and the fabric wastage you need to calculate. So if you consider all these things, you will say that, so the best one is, the economical one is 5 to 10 centimeter, optimal is 10 to 20 centimeters is the splice distance is most optimal and economical. Okay, then you can see that actual how these splice marks are going to be there in the marker and how we can mark the fabric. And you can see that where the overlap of the fabric can be done, and you can see that the overlapping area is becoming waste. Okay, so the overlapping area becoming waste, and wherever the fault is came, the overlapping going to be done like this. Okay, and you can observe that the splice point 1 and point 2. So the cut component of 52A, point 1 tip. Okay, and 2 part is going to be followed for 55B. For 55B, that component edge. Okay, so in between that we are going to remove the fabric wherever this area is a spliced area, fabric spliced area in the marker. Okay, so again the overlapping can be done here. Okay, and the fabric wastage is shown at the end of the marker, whatever the fabric waste we are going to get. Okay, so this is how we are going to prepare or mark the splice points in the marker, so that whenever the fabric faults are come, so these fabric faults should not affect your cut component. So our end product or our output product from the cutting department is cut components. Okay, once you cut the fabric, once you waste the fabric, so it will not be returned. So this is very important. The fabric stage itself you need to identify all and you need to rectify all. So after cutting you cannot able to get it back, so because already you have wasted the fabric. Okay, so that is why it is very important, and splice parts are very important, splice joints are very important in case of marker preparation to avoid the defective cut components for the sieving operation. If the defective cut components are occurred, then we need to recut the component. Recut nothing but, for example, if out of 50 garment plies or out of 50 garment sets, 1 or 2 sets if it is having a defect in the fabric, then we need to recut the component. Recut nothing but again we need to go to the cutting department, we need to take out the fabric roll, and again we need to place the particular marker or particular pattern, then we need to mark it, then cut. Okay, so this is the whole process, time taking process, and if it is 1 or 2 it is okay, but in the bulk orders, and in the apparel industries we are dealing with many different sizes and many different styles. Okay, so if this recutting if the recutting is more and more, then so total wastage of time, money and fabric. Okay, so that is why it is very important. So this is about the splicing, and as well as the whatever we have discussed is, that is splicing. And so for the next section we are going to see what is layout planning. What is layout planning? So we will see small examples of layout planning. Okay, so now what we have discussed is like what are the different markers and step play or step spreads. What is the splicing we have discussed. Now in between we have discussed if the ordered quantities are same, how we can prepare the marker. So specifically layout planning is very important towards the preparation of a marker. So we will discuss in the next lecture, that is layout planning, and some of the examples of layout planning in the next session. Till then, thanks for listening. Bye.